Today we're going to debrief my decision to set off on a flight in marginal weather and how it almost became a VFR into IMC situation. Welcome to the Decision Making Debrief. As I've gained experience and confidence as a private pilot, I found myself pushing my boundaries in terms of the weather I'm prepared to fly in. I have a restricted instrument rating too, which means I know I can handle the aeroplane in cloud and poor visibility. But the flight I'm debriefing today was a VFR flight because I was taking off in France, where my restricted instrument rating isn't valid. It's a UK only thing. We arrived at Longyear Airport near Paris in the morning, hoping to get away by 1000 hours Zulu so that I could land at Le Touquet before their ATC closed for lunch at 11:30 hours. But despite the forecast predicting an improving picture throughout the morning, the weather was a little slower to lift in the Paris area and the cloud base was only just sufficient for me to depart before my self-imposed deadline. Now, the forecast, the METARs and the satellite picture all indicated that as soon as I tracked to the north of Paris, the weather would get progressively better, and after 20-30 miles or so, I'd find Cavoquet skies. But there was a little bit of cloud showing on the satellite picture just to the east of Longyear, which was on my route. From the images, it wasn't possible to see what the base of that cloud was, and so I thought I'd take off and have a look.
Golf India Victor, cleared for takeoff, wind 31 degrees, 3 knots, follow published pattern and report eastbound to the frequency.
Clear for takeoff, runway 26 concrete, Golf India Victor.
I took off and could immediately see that it was still a rather grey and cloudy picture all around me, especially on my easterly track. It was difficult though to distinguish between the cloud and the poor visibility.
Well, there's a lot of low cloud, isn't there? There is.
And I thought what I was seeing was just an area of slightly poorer visibility ahead of me that I thought I'd be able to fly through because I could see features in the far distance. Now this, to some extent, is another example of press on itis. If you haven't seen my debrief on that subject, go and check it out after this one. Why press on itis or get there itis? Well, I really wanted to arrive at Le Touquet at a particular time, and so I departed by my self-imposed deadline, even though to have waited a couple of extra hours would have resulted in perfect VFR conditions rather than the marginal conditions I was currently flying in. But unlike my example in the other video where I pressed on despite deteriorating weather, descending lower and lower, on this occasion I didn't hesitate to abandon the flight. Just 5 minutes after takeoff and 5 miles from the airport, that cloud that I'd seen on the satellite picture hit me. I didn't see it coming. It had blended into the grey, misty skies ahead and then enveloped the aircraft in a flash. I immediately did a 180 and was able to remain VMC, but a second longer and it would likely have been a complete whiteout.
Long information, Golf Bravo Mike, India Victor.
Golf India Victor, pass your message.
Yeah, we'd like to return. The cloud to the east is too low for our departure. We are approximately 2 miles east of Echo. Request join.
Golf India Victor, so report echo point for a long final 26 concrete.
Report echo point for a long final runway 26 concrete, Golf India Victor.
I set course back to the airfield and called up to rejoin, but now I was a bit flustered, rushed, not mentally ready for a rejoin. I wasn't processing radio calls as well as I would normally.
Was it clear to land on runway 26 concrete?
Yes, make straight in approach, runway 26 concrete, your number 1 and report final.
Roger, straight in 26 concrete, number 1, Golf India Victor.
Now there's a phrase that I hear people say a lot in situations like this. If there's any doubt, there's no doubt. In other words, if you're at all worried about the weather, don't go. Now, I'm not a fan of that cliche myself because there's always doubt when it comes to weather. You can never predict it with certainty. But I had looked at the weather information I'd seen before departure in this case and viewed it with optimism. I'd also gone out with the confidence that I had the skill and experience to turn back if I needed to. So going for a look, to me, seemed like a sensible thing to do. But I hadn't really considered the risks of doing so.
Not only could I have entered full-on IMC, which I was not qualified to do in France, I'd also increased the risks to the flight because of the high workload that followed the 180 turnback. We landed safely back at Longyears, but configuring the aircraft for landing in a bit of a hurry meant that I missed my reds, blues, greens final check, or at least I didn't say it out loud. I'd done my pre-landing checks, but this last check on final is the final barrier against a gear-up landing.
Now on this occasion, when I was faced with the cloud, I didn't hesitate. I executed a swift turn back, which was the right thing to do, of course. That's something in my favour, at least here. But reading the recently updated CAA Safety Sense leaflet on VFR flight into IMC, my decision to go when I did was questionable at best. The leaflet says to go or not. If there is doubt about the conditions, it is safer to reschedule or modify the planned flight rather than dealing with an en route diversion. You may be tempted to get airborne and have a look, but this could lead you into a difficult situation later. Many VFR into IMC accidents could have been avoided by not commencing the flight. As you fly more, travel longer distances and build experience and so on, it can be tempting to push things a little bit further than perhaps you would have done in the earlier years. I thought I could go up and have a look in this example when actually the threat I was looking for was almost impossible to spot. This flight also is a reminder that even though METARs all around us might indicate good weather, there's the possibility that there's a small patch over a hill, a forest, a coastline or river, for example, that is impenetrable.
The next free safety workshop from Astral Aviation Consulting is at 7:30 in the evening British time on Wednesday the 4th of September. These workshops happen over Zoom and they're a great way to brush up on the latest safety advice and good practice. To see what the workshop is covering and to register for free, visit astralaviationconsulting.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification icon, and I'll see you next month. Bye for now.